Hey, what's up? You're here today with Nick the Informative Fisherman. In today's quick tip video, we're going to be discussing the three most common fishing lines that are on the market today. And that's monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braided line. Okay, so I've cracked open my spooling box, and here we have some monofilament trilene 17-pound test line. Okay, now the pros for monofilament line. This line has a lot of stretch to it, to where it allows you to play the fish out a little bit easier than, per se, fluorocarbon or braided line. I'm not saying those you can't play a fish out on is good. I'm just saying it's a little bit easier for a beginner to play a fish out on monofilament line due to its stretching capabilities. Another thing that mono has is it floats. Fluorocarbon sinks and braid floats a little bit, but for methods like walking the dog or your surface lures like buzz baits or topwater spooks, you definitely want to use monofilament line. It's the best way to go for surface lures. Plus, monofilament line has good knot strength. So combined with hard surface strikes, the knot and the great stretch, it's really rare to get broken off in these situations. Okay, here we have some P-line fluorocarbon 8-pound test line. Now the pros for fluorocarbon line is when it's in the water, it's nearly invisible. So versus monofilament, you would definitely, in a clear lake situation, want to use fluorocarbon. Plus the line cuts water and sinks. So when you're casting out there with a lure and it's falling on the way down, you have much less slack in your line with fluorocarbon. So that first little nibble that you might have missed with mono, you can more than likely fill on fluorocarbon line. And trust me, I use it all the time when I'm crappie fishing and largemouth fishing in clear water situations. And when you're fishing soft plastics on the bottom and just casting any soft plastics period, fluorocarbon line is definitely the way to go. Now the cons for fluorocarbon line, it lacks in knot strength. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I've tied the same pound test, so many different makers on fluorocarbon line versus monofilament, and fluorocarbon knots always break before. I tie Palomar knots, trilene knots, improved clinch knots, but fluorocarbon always breaks off before monofilament. So when you're tying your knots with fluorocarbon line, it's best to really wet your line, and when you're doing your hook sets, when a fish takes it, do a pull hook set, not a real snappy hook set. Just increase your reel speed and pull back smoothly and fast. Don't jerk it and over torque your line. Plus, this line doesn't have as much stretch as monofilament line. So it's important when you're playing the fish to keep that bend in your rod. You're not going to get a lot of stretch out of this line and be able to play the fish around as easy. So keep the pressure on the fish, keep the bend in that rod, and you'll never notice a difference as long as you play that fish just right. But fluorocarbon line is definitely the way to go when you're casting light lures, clear water situations, and soft plastic lures. Here we have some 65-pound spider wire braided line. Now the advantages, aka the pros, of braided line is it's extremely strong. In the same diameter, if monofilament was going to be the same diameter as this braided line right here, or fluorocarbon per se, there's no way you can compare the strength differences. This is a 15-pound test diameter, so equal to the monofilament line here in 15-pound test. This is 65 pounds, so clearly you can see the difference. Plus the knot strength on braided line is also incredible. You pretty much can't go wrong with any knot that you tie on these guys. And when it comes to casting frogs or topwater surface rats over matted grass, you cannot beat braided line. It cuts through matted grass well, it's extremely strong, so you can torque the fish out no matter how much grass he's being pulled along with it. So if you're fishing top water over grass and mat, you definitely want to use braided line. It has a good cutting ability, it's extremely strong, so when you're casting topwater lures over matted grass like most frogs on the market that you'll see like Dean Rojas use, definitely braided line is the choice. Now the cons with braided line is that there is no stretch. Okay, even though I said it can be a good thing, when you're playing the fish, you have to keep the pressure on them non-stop. If the bend comes out of that rod, just in the split second, you can lose that fish because there's no stretch, and the stretch really helps you play the fish. So when you're using braided line and you do hook up with one, bulldog them in. Your tackle should be strong enough, your line's definitely going to be strong enough. So don't try to play the fish out too much when using braided line. It's not very sporting to use braided line in the first place, but it's more of a tournament line, and when you're yanking fish out of hard structure. So bulldog them in anyways. Reel it as fast as you can. Bring that fish in. Another flaw is it's highly visible. So if you're just casting with this, I mean, the bass can generally see it, or any fish that you're fishing for can generally see braided line in the water. If it's really dirty, you can get away with it. If the water's really stained, you can get away with braided line. I don't suggest it, but some people do use it for that situation. But I would always suggest, if you're going to be casting any normal type of lake or river situation, you want to use monofilament or fluorocarbon line and not braid. You can use braid for flipping over the top of structure, sometimes strictly because you want to use that strength ability to yank them out. But for the most part, braid's just for casting matted grass. Plus, braid can be hard on your equipment, depending on the brand, and I'm not going to bash anybody here. Depending on the brand, it could cut the eyes of your rod. Some reels get a little bit abused. The level one will get a little bit abused if it's a cheaper reel, even though some of the nice ones I've seen braid take its toll on. So you got to remember, certain braids out there, you got to find out if it's on a very abrasive line. Some of them are smooth. The spider wire tends to be a little bit smoother of a line that doesn't abuse your rod and reel as much as some of the other braided lines out there. One little side tip that I'd like to add is when you buy your line, you want to make sure it's pretty much new when you buy it, and take it out with a pen or a Sharpie right the day you bought it, right there, so you'll know. I suggest if 2 seasons have gone by and you had the line in the shade, you might be able to use it again, but I would say switch it out after 2 seasons of not use. Line on the actual reel, you want to switch out every season. So for beginners, monofilament's probably the best line to get started off with, but once you start to improve in your fishing skills, you're definitely going to want to incorporate fluorocarbon and braided line into your arsenal. Now that's understanding the 3 most common fishing lines on the market. I'm your host, Nick the Informative Fisherman, and we'll see you next time.